I would like to be open about my criticism of Mr. Anupam Kher also, because he was the head of the censor board in 2002 when a film was made against the riots that took place in Gujarat. Mr. Anupam Kher, as chief of the censor board, saw to it that that film would not pass until after the elections when the Congress came to power, and then he was forced to pass it.
You want to respond, Anupam, because that's a serious charge, effectively
Absolutely.
suggesting that you have been batting for the BJP.
I have no, first of all, I have no other word but to say that that's absolute rubbish. I'm sorry, I wish I could use a respectable word, but that's absolute rubbish.
Prove
Yesterday also in a debate he said that. Let me finish. Let me finish now that you've said this.
Yes.
There is a process with which a film is passed. I became the censor board chief. The preliminary viewing gave it, we don't want to pass it, but because there was so much hue and cry, I sat down and before Congress came into the power and passed the film without any cut. I sat down and before Congress came into the power and passed the film without any cut. And let me tell you that it was a film which, as a Hindu, I felt, my God, this is too much this will create a problem between two societies. But I passed it without a single cut.
And you are known for actually sitting in the censor board when the BJP was in power and stopping all those films.
I am the first person, let me put it on clear very thing.
I was the one who passed as a censor board chief, you stopped Final Solution.
I wanted this reaction from Anand Patwardhan. At least now he's talking with emotional this thing. I was the person who passed Final Solution, which was anti-Hindus, anti-Muslims, anti-fact without a single cut.
And Mr. Rakesh Sharma has sent me a message, I wish I had, that I touch your feet for your magnanimity.
Without any interpretation, it's amazing. It's amazing.
The censor board banned the film to begin with. I applied for certification, and first they won't actually even schedule the film for certification. I kept getting notices of various kinds. The first set of notices I got was, you showed the film at film festivals abroad.
Okay.
How did you? And I said, take a hike. Censor certification is required for screenings in India, not abroad. Then the next set of notices I got from the censor board was, you went abroad for film festivals, how did you manage the foreign exchange? So I politely wrote back to them saying, if it's a FERA violation, let the government of India and DRI get behind me. CBFC is not concerned with it. Finally, they sorted the film, and it was very curious. I was screening the film at a festival in Bangalore, a protest festival in Bangalore. And in the middle of that screening, in the middle of my Q&A, I got a call from the censor board saying we banned the film. And when I got the final sort of ruling from the censor board, it claimed all sorts of things like my film was an assault on constitutional values, on values like secularism, that it was going to promote enmity among people, that it was unfit for exhibition altogether. So I decided to fight it out, and unlike other friends of mine like Anand Patwardhan, who's always taken the legal route to fight it out, I decided that I was not going to take that route for two reasons. I think it serves the powers that be when you decide to go to courts, because during that period of 2 years, 2.5 years, the film stands buried. It's only underground screenings and some friendly screenings that happen. And that's what they want. They want to bury the film at that point. By the time they lift the ban, the film is no longer timely. So I decided to fight it at two levels, I said. One was, as soon as the film was banned, I went to Sony and placed an order for 20,000 copies. And I launched a campaign called Pirate and Circulate, where you were getting a copy of the film if you promised to pirate and make 5 copies and circulate it further. So my thing was, you want to ban my film, I'm going to be in your face, try and stop me. And the second was to keep up the pressure on the government of India at that point. I actually cited a part of the Cinematograph Act which empowers the government of India to overrule the censor board. That particular provision hasn't been invoked in the last 60 years. But the government was between a rock and a hard place because I was able to demonstrate that the censor board was very partisan. And that's also an interesting story. When the screening was slotted, I knew that this was going to happen. That the censor board was actually not going to play fair. So 2 journalists, one from the Telegraph and one from Midday, and 2 of my assistants were actually part of the screening. They were standing right outside the venue. And they kept records of who went in, for how many minutes, came out, spoke on the cell phone, went to the loo, came back 16 minutes later, and all of that. So in the records, which were then published next day, both in the Telegraph and in the Midday, and both these journalists did a very good job. It turned out that that cut that I had given for certification was about 3 hours and 45 minutes. But to look at the entire film, then to have a debate among the members, then to draft a ruling, the censor board took 3 hours. So we were able to demonstrate that they never saw the film. And since it was documented so well, the Ministry of I&B, couldn't actually say no to me. So I kept saying, you need to invoke this provision. And they said, we cannot invoke this provision. At best, we can instruct the censor board to relook at your film. And I said, I'm not going to apply for recertification because I will actually now use the consumer law. I do not want to use the Cinematograph Act. They rendered a service to me and the service was deficient. So under the Consumer Protection Act, I will proceed against Government of India and the censor board. So Anupam got wind of it and he slotted a screening on his own. I never reapplied for it. And in that screening, the film was cleared without a single fact. Of course, it's been shown very widely abroad, on television and even in theatre releases, in a limited way.